there, Green Lantern Corps, the Comics Kid 2099 here to talk about an episode of Green Lantern the Animated Series titled Into the Abyss. If you haven't seen this episode, you can do so on the DC Universe streaming app. I don't have the app myself, but if you like watching this series, that's a place you can do it. So I recommend that you do so while I quickly do a plot synopsis before I get into the actual review. Tension is high on the Interceptor between Kilowog and Razor when the crew gets a distress signal from Newman from Seinfeld, who is about to get sucked into a black hole. The whole episode is Hal, Kilowog, and Razor trying to save the smuggler, as well as the cargo, while also trying not to die. Also, Aya forms a physical body for herself after she determines that she is a Green Lantern and needs a body to do her duties. So for the last two reviews, I've commented about how the series has really put Razor in the protagonist chair and put Hal, Kilowog, and Aya in the background. They still get stuff to do, but not like Razor. Until now. This episode, incredibly, is able to give Razor, Kilowog, and Aya all arcs to go through without any of them feeling shortchanged. Hal more or less remains unchanged from beginning to end, but I can't really complain when 3/4 of the cast gets arcs of some kind. Razor and Kilowog are both nearly ready to tear each other's throats out at the beginning of the episode, but after Razor saves Kilowog and Kilowog saves Razor and Hal, they both are very slowly beginning to see that they will need to get along better if they are going to be living together on the same ship. And Aya, while her screen time is significantly less than what the organic characters get, is still more than what she's been getting, since she started off more or less as a prop that happened to speak. Her arc isn't much, but it's still better than not getting any arc at all. I'm not usually a fan of man versus nature stories, but this one works well because the black hole isn't the only source of conflict that we're getting. While the black hole is providing us with some tense scenarios for our heroes to work through, the character stuff is far more interesting. Even though my brain knows that Kilowog is not going to die, at least not this early in the series, my heart tells me that Razor has no reason to want to save Kilowog. So that split second where Razor sees Kilowog falling before he saves him, that's really intense. And when Wayne Knight is on the Interceptor while the three Lanterns are trying to save his ship, when Aya disappears, we don't know enough about this guy to know if he'll steal the Interceptor and leave the Lanterns for dead. So while the man versus nature stuff is what kicks off the plot of the episode and provides a few roadblocks for our characters to cross, it's not what makes this episode interesting. This episode also puts the main series arc of the Rise of the Red Lanterns completely in the background, which is fine because in a series that does have a long-running arc, I don't need every episode to be devoted to that arc. That's a good way to get the audience burnt out on the entire series, but also you need to do the occasional episode that does bring the arc back into focus, otherwise people get tired of waiting for the stuff that they might be more interested in to happen and leave. Now personally, I don't put any more value on an arc-based episode over non-arc episodes. Even when I like the arc, I can still really enjoy the non-arc episodes. In the case of this series, I'm not just overly in love with the Red Lanterns themselves, but I do like Razor and I am interested in seeing his journey progress, and that can happen in non-arc episodes like this one. But I'm sure there are people out there who like Big Beach Ball Head Guy and Atrocitus, and those people might want to see those guys show up sooner rather than later. This is only episode 4, so it's not a problem yet, but that is something worth noting. Overall, I can't think of anything about this episode that did not work. It's great, just like this series has been so far. If you guys like this review, I hope you'll give me a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you also like this episode as much as I did. Next week, I'll be talking about another episode of this series, so stay tuned for that. And I'll also be talking about other stuff throughout the week, so check that out also. In the meantime, I'll see you guys around. Have a good one.